In the previous episode, we talked about how crucial it is to earn trust intentionally and how that underlies any certainty that you're going to help someone build when they choose whether or not they're going to work with you. Today, we're going to shift to the four certainties, because once a client trusts you, they still need certainty to whatever degree they need it in order for them to commit their time, their money, their energy, and the emotional investment of a process that they hope works. So, Cody, walk us through what these certainties are and how they work together. The first one we have here is certainty in themselves. What does that mean to you?
So when we do consultations at the flagship, this is actually something that we do at the end of the consultative process. Is I write these four things on the whiteboard and I work through each one of them with the individual one at a time.
So you're directly addressing these certainties.
Yeah.
I see. It's not a game you're playing in your head where you're checking
I'm
boxes.
trying to keep score in my head.
It's not that.
No.
It's an overt conversation. Okay.
And it's worked well. It's not something that we did in the beginning when we started the consultative process, but having added it and seeing success with it, it's something that we'll keep for sure. So the first one is themselves. Was that right?
That's right.
So what we're asking here is, if all of these other things, which we'll talk about, align, do you believe that you're the type of person who can achieve the types of things that we've been talking about achieving today? Do you believe that you can? Do you believe you can? You deserve it. You're worthy of it. You're willing to do it. All of that.
Well, those are three distinct and important things. So it's the person who first and foremost believes that they're worthy of the kind of success we're talking about for them. And the second is an important one, which is entirely about their belief in their ability to do what we're going to ask them to do. Is that correct?
Yep.
Do you think that people assume that prospects believe enough in themselves to actually go through it? Do you think this is something that's overlooked? Because saying this out loud stands out as like, isn't it obvious that the person would, but maybe it's not.
Yeah, I don't think that it is, because I don't know that every person who you're going to have a sales conversation with does all of the work necessary to identify, okay, if all of the things align, am I actually going to follow through with this? They start the conversation because they're in the right headspace and it's the best, like it's the right moment for them. But I wouldn't agree that they have thought all the way through all of the things that need to be true in order to be successful here.
So we actually need to audit with them whether or not they believe they can, because if they believe they can't, they're not going to say yes.
Right.
I follow. How do you build belief in a client who doubts themselves?
Who doubts themselves? Questions. I love the question game, asking them, hey, okay, got it. What sort of things have you tried in the past? Why were those successful for you? When they were successful, what pieces of it, what things were unsuccessful? What does your support system look like outside of this? Do you have other pillars of support besides the coach, the trainer, the professional that you're going to be working with? Do you have a friend? Do you have, support at home? Does your family? I want to go down that line. That's where I want to start to gather all of the information.
And I imagine a simple enough question like, what is it that makes you unsure you'd be capable of doing this? Can open up all the information you need to start the conversation.
Yeah, one question and get out of the way.
Yeah. I like the idea of getting out of the way. Yeah. What are some things that you've found that actually build confidence for people without just this empty reassurance of, don't worry, it's going to be great. You're like, you're going to do fine. What are ways that you actually build confidence in the individual when they're not sure in the first place?
Well, I think it starts with competence, right? So we need to make sure that they have all of the understanding, not only why we've had success in the past, but maybe why we've had failure in the past. Why didn't this work for you in the past? Was it the wrong time? Was it the wrong fit? Was it the wrong modality? Because we're in the fitness space, right? So we get people who have tried a lot of things. And by the time they get to us, they feel like they've tried everything. Even going down the medical side, they've tried the physical therapy, they've had the surgery, they've done all of these things as well. So, okay, got it. What worked? What didn't work? Why do you think that it didn't work? If we stick in the fitness sector, why do you think that this didn't work? Well, maybe because it wasn't specific to me. Maybe because the person that I was working with never asked me all of these questions to figure out what it is that I wanted or why it was important to me. Right? It might have been a phase of their life.
Well, so now we enter this space where if they haven't had what they've needed to be successful before, they're going to have to take a leap of faith on this hypothetical situation where, well, if these things existed, could you see yourself being successful? Mm-hmm. And then ultimately, this is where we go back and forth between certainty and logic, certainty and trust. Because if we can help someone evaluate if X, Y, and Z were the case, could you see yourself being successful? And they say, yeah, I'm 9 out of 10 certain if that were the reality that I could be successful. And then you say, well, that's exactly what we would be doing for you. Now this is just about whether or not they trust you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's two questions that we ask in the consultation before we even get to these 4 certainties. One of them is, what do you think that you need in order to be successful here? Mm-hmm. Get them to start to list all of the things. The second question is, and I phrase it like this, I imagine you know this to be true. The better we can do of identifying any sort of roadblocks or obstacles before we take off on the journey, the better we can navigate them if they come up. Mm-hmm. What sort of things could get in the way for you? Mm-hmm. And you're going to gather a lot of information from those 2 questions about, okay, here's what they believe or think that they need in order to be successful. And then here's all of the things that they already perceive as obstacles, which helps you in the conversation when you get to this you part.
Mm-hmm. Okay. The second certainty that we're talking about here is around the solution. We're talking about the plan here, right?
Yep.
Walk us through that one.
So that's exactly what it's the plan. So when I'm asking this question is, hey, are you the type of person who wants more detail about every single step that we're about to take together, or do you want bullet points? What's more helpful for you? Mm-hmm. And then I give them, based on what they want, I give them all of the insight into each of the 4 phases. The assessing phase, we're already in the assessing phase. Everything we've done up to today, and then the next few sessions are going to round this out. It's where we gather data. The develop phase is a one-on-one phase. The purpose of this phase is education, confidence, competence. This is where you start to feel better. Then we have the ascend phase, long-term resolution, and then finally the freedom phase where you don't need us anymore. That's the plan that we're talking about here. Depending on the personality type, which we've done an episode on before, they're going to need more or less information here. So it's up to you to decide which do they need.
But ultimately, they're deciding that there's this concrete set of steps that are going to get them what they want. Mm-hmm. And they need to believe that that's a plan that makes sense for them.
Yeah. At the end of that presentation, I'll ask them, do you have any questions about this? No. Got it. Do you think that this is the type of plan that would help you be successful if we execute this together? Mm-hmm. Yes. Great. Check mark.
I see. So this is really a simple matter of whether or not the plan is going to get them what they want. And if they aren't sure, I imagine you're having a conversation with them about that.
Yeah, it's okay. Got it. So it sounds like if it's an I don't know, it's a no. Yeah. Or a maybe, it's a no. It's always, okay, got it. It sounds like there's some uncertainty here. Which part of this are you uncertain about? Is it the whole thing?
Yeah.
Is it about what we're going to do first, in the middle, or at the end?
Yeah. Or what would need to be different about this for you to believe it were going to work? And then it's simply an evaluation of, does what they believe they need fall within the scope of what you do well or not? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if the answer is no, then you're referring them somewhere else.
Absolutely.
If the answer is, that's exactly what we would help you do, then the answer is yes.
Yeah, that's a really great point.
I see. Okay. The third thing that they have to be certain of is the professional. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What does that mean? Like the person just helping them, right?
Yeah, so we call that support. Okay. Right? So when I write this on the board, the question is, do you have any questions about the type of support or the way in which you're going to be supported on this journey, specifically by Larry and the rest of the team here? This in the discovery call, sometimes the question will come up, what education does your team have? What makes you guys?
That's what it sounds like if they're not sure about the team or the support.
Yes.
I see.
What makes you, and then I'll give them the little, 90-second act or ALP spiel. I'll tell them about how we have the curriculum of education, 13 months long. Everybody on the team has been in the industry for at least 5 years, most of us much longer, and they've graduated this curriculum of education. What else do you need to know? Everybody's got varying degrees or varying levels of secondary education, but what other information would be helpful for me to share with you here? So that's the support piece. And then specifically in the consultation, it's, do you have any questions about the type of support, the way in which you're going to be supported? And they might be saying, is it, okay, so it's just like the 3 sessions that I'm coming in during this week? Got it. So it isn't.
So that's a clue to you that they're concerned about what happens in between.
Yes. So then we talk about the lifestyle support. We talk about the general activity, the flexibility, mobility, the fact that when you work with us, you really get a professional in your pocket. Obviously, don't
Within
text,
boundaries.
Yeah, don't text them at midnight and expect a response. But if we're working together for 3 hours a week, there's 165 other hours that you're going to want and need support around. And that's what the team is here to support you with.
Okay.
So when we get to the end of that, do you imagine that we could support you in the way that you need to be supported in order to be
sound
successful?
like the kind of support that'll help you win?
Yeah.
All right. They need to ultimately believe that you're the kind of person that will effectively guide them to their results.
Yep.
They need to believe you're capable. They need to believe you care. They need to believe you're interested. They need to believe you're committed to them.
Yes.
I follow. The fourth certainty is the decision. The decision. This is about them feeling confident with the timing, that the choice are correct for them. To walk us more through this.
Yeah. So this goes in two parts, right? So one of the parts are when we talked about earlier, when we talked about what are some of the things that could get in the way for you. They might say things like work. I'm just really busy with my work schedule right now. Or we're getting into the holiday season.
This
right?
time of year is crazy. That
Yeah.
kind of thing,
Are you going to be around consistently for the next 6 to 8 weeks?
When you say you, are you talking about that's what you would ask the prospect, or that's what the prospect would ask you?
That's what I would ask the prospect. Are you going to be around for the next 6 to 8 weeks, or do you have a bunch of travel coming up? Is this the right time for that? Another factor in the decision could simply be the environment. So when we put this on the whiteboard, it is that. It's the environment. It's the place that you're going to.
Is this a place you can see yourself being successful?
Yes. Is this the type of environment you can see yourself being successful in? Yes or no?
Okay, so it sounds like there are a bunch of different factors in the overall decision around whether the decision. This basically sounds like does this whole thing seem like it can happen well for you now?
Yeah, right time, right place, right. All the other factors, is everything lining up to lead you to believe that this is going to be the right decision?
Okay, so the four. Actually, a curious question that I have for you is, why do you believe that this is a moment that a lot of professionals get nervous? And what do you keep in your head that allows you to move through this frame calmly? Because I know that a lot of people dread hearing things like it's a bad time of year, I don't know, this, that, and the other thing, but you're attacking it head on. So how is it that you're keeping calm about this? And what are you thinking about that allows you to do that? Why do you think so many people get nervous here?
There's two thoughts come up for me. Number one, I always attempt to, and you talked about this in such a way when we talked about going into a consultative conversation. You go into it just trying to be helpful, right? Coming from a place of love and abundance. I come into it slightly differently. I come into it where I'm agnostic. I'm agnostic to the decision that
Same,
the person
by the way,
is going
agree
to
with
make.
that. Yeah.
So I want to ask all of the questions, because the thing that I least enjoy is going through a process like this, having someone enroll, and then 1 week, 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks later, them deciding that, you know what, actually this isn't the right time.
100%.
I don't trust you, or like, I don't think that you're the right place.
Such a drain, man.
It's awful. I would rather not work with you at all and refer you to somebody else who is going to be a better fit to help you than to work with you for a week or two.
It's going to be good for the get-go. It's going to be long-term. Just wherever that is, go there.
So that's the first thing that comes up to me. One, I'm agnostic. And two, there's this gap that exists between communication and expectation. And that's where all suffering occurs. So it's part of our responsibility as the professionals to make sure that we're communicating effectively and we're asking all of the questions necessary to align our expectations and the client's expectations and that communication. Because if there's anything that's left unsaid, and there will be, but we want to make those as few things as possible, all of the things that are left unsaid become premeditated resentments. Uncommunicated expectations become premeditated resentments, or are premeditated resentments.
I like that.
I actually, Chris Williamson, I think it was the one that I heard, and he took it from somebody.
Attaboy, Chris.
It all goes back to that. So I want to make sure that we're having the conversation fully in the way that the person needs to have it, as completely as they need to have it, so that there is they had an expectation that we didn't meet because it was unspoken. That's why I don't get nervous in that conversation because it's my job. It's our job.
Yeah, well, I think that this goes back to the very simple situation where people are like, you need to decide how focused am I on what I get out of this, and what do you actually want to get out of it? And I think the impartial conversation that you're describing, where ultimately whatever works out best for this person is the right thing to do, and the win isn't necessarily getting them to pay you, that's a very important frame to be able to hold. And if you're still in a place where you feel like you're thinking about their money, I think that's a really important place to spend more time. So overall, it sounds like trust allows them to want to defer to you and give you the permission to lead. And going through certainties actually allows them to work through the decision itself and whether or not it's one they're going to take. Helpful. Anything else you want to add on the difference between trust and certainty?
No, I'm complete.
Good job.
I hope you enjoyed that episode of the Active Life podcast. If you did, please head to wherever you listen and leave us that 5-star rating. It really does go a long way. 5 stars goes a long way. Please leave them. If you're interested in working with us as a coach, remember, we help coaches from around the world build fulfilling careers, working with clients they're inspired to help so they never have to worry about being able to pay your bills again. No one's ever going to ask you if you are going to get a real job when you work with Active Life. All you have to do, head into the show notes, click the link that you find there, download our curriculum. That will give you a feel for what it is going to take for you to be successful. A team member of ours will reach out to you to find out if it's a fit for us to work together. Till the next show, turn pro.